Bore da, good morning. How are you this morning? I want to tell you about my Monday. I'd set aside Monday as a quiet day, and things got in the way, which meant that the afternoon was not quiet, but I still managed to keep the morning looking good for me to go and spend some time somewhere quiet where I could pray for you all and listen to God and perhaps have some reflection time and some time to think and just tune in a bit about what my priorities should be. It's a really good practice. I highly commend it to you. However, I do not commend to you the way it happened on Monday. I decided I'd take a little adventure into a part of the Wye Valley that I didn't know, did my research, drove up all the little lanes, get to this tiny little car park, brilliant stuff, park the car and off I walk. It's about a mile of the track to get down into the little bit I wanted to be in where I would sit and pray. And off I went, and it was all downhill and it was all going well. It was pouring with rain, but it didn't matter because the tree canopy was so strong that it just kept all the raindrops off me, and the sound was glorious actually. And tramping down, off I go, until I realised my shoe was sounding a little bit weird. And when I looked, no wonder I'd been tripping a little bit, because the whole of the front half of the sole, from toe to sort of mid-heel really, had come completely unstuck, and the bottom of my shoe was flapping around like an old fish stuck to my foot. Great. Because I knew I was walking on tracks and I wasn't really sort of trekking, I hadn't brought anything with me. I'd got a rucksack on my back, which had got my Bible in it, a notebook, some pretty colour pens, my phone and my purse. Nothing, not even a spare mask with a bit of elastic on it to be able to tie this bit of my shoe back on. And I was so far from the car at this point that it didn't matter which way I went, I was going to have an equal walk. And I thought, well, I'll keep going because I'll get down to the bottom and there'll be a tea shop down there, and I'll ask them for a bit of string and I'll just cope, and that's great. Flapped my way down the rest of this track to the bottom to discover that what I had assumed was a well-known tiny place was not well-known at all. There were two small groups of teenage school children camping there in old-fashioned bell tents, no toilets, whittling wood they were, quite shocked to see me, not managing to get a fire going because it was just raining too hard to do that. No phone signal, and I thought, my goodness, what have I entered? It was like the back of beyond, this very, very rural, secluded little place. So I knocked on the hut door of who looked like he might be in charge and said, bit of a strange request, I'm nothing to do with what you are. Please, have you got something I could mend my shoe with? And he looked at me as though I'd asked for something completely peculiar that was beyond the realms of possibility that my shoe could have fallen apart. He didn't have any string. He didn't have an elastic band. He gave me a cable tie. So, and it was one of those where, you put the end in and you pull it tight and then it's kind of fixed forever. So I knew I'd only got one shot of this cable tie working. So I wrapped it round the toe of my shoe and pulled it really tight, and so tight that my toes hurt. And it kind of kept the sole just about in touch. And at this point, I'd lost the will to live, really. And I flapped my way back up the hill towards my car, thinking, well, there was no tea room, there was no toilet, it was just, I was in the middle of nowhere. No phone signal, nothing. I thought I'll be eaten by a wild boar if I'm not careful. I exaggerate. I sat on an amazing log and I prayed for you, and I had some good encounters with God, and I came away really very pleased with the morning, actually, despite my shoe. The moral of the story is, do not listen to that bit in the Bible where Jesus, I think it's in Luke's Gospel, where Jesus tells the disciples to go out and carry no purse or no bag or sandals. Do not listen to that bit. Always have a bit of string in your bag. That's my lesson to you. My second lesson is that it is always good to make time for God, to just sit in his presence. And even if your shoe is falling off, you have no cup of tea in your hand, and it is pouring with rain, there are blessings to be found around us. And just sitting quietly in that moment can give us riches beyond comprehension. Give it a try. I highly recommend it. And my third suggestion to you is always have a pair of wellies in the boot of your car. When I got back to the car, I put my welly boots on and I drove to a tea shop, and I had the most amazing cup of coffee, actually. And of course, a scone with all the works. It just came out all right in the end. I'm going to look for some glue for my shoe. That's my next project. I don't know why I've told you all of that. It was just a funny story, and there were great blessings to be had in amongst the humour, and I wasn't eaten by a wild boar, so let's be glad of that. Hey, I hope you have a lovely day today. I'm sorry I've wittered and I've rambled, and it's just one of those days. Take care, lots of love, God bless, bye-bye.